So, yeah. About a month ago, Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, asked to join the Cincinnati Bengals coaching staff. He said, Zach, I want a job. And Zach Taylor and the Bengals didn't want to hire him. And to be honest, I'm not like sitting here saying that, he 1000% he was going to make the team better, but it would have been nice to have Chad Johnson on the coaching staff. If anything, maybe as like assistant wide receiver coach, right? That would have been a cool idea. Maybe help out Troy Walters. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Chad Johnson is one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the Bengals history. So it would have been nice to have, him on, maybe an assistant wide receiver coach. If anything, at the games, just to hype up the fans, get the fans all crazy, really get the smack talk going. Chase loves him. T loves him. Like, it would have been nice, right? But we never did it. We never did it. Excuse me. We never did it. We never gave him a chance. So now he's moved on. And he's moved on to the Raiders. And why did he move on to the Raiders? Well, because they just hired their assistant head coach, Marvin Lewis. Yep, the Marvin Lewis. So because of that, now Chad is asking for a job from Marvin Lewis. So he moved on from us, and now he's going over to Marvin Lewis and asking him for a job. Well, according to Chad last night, he said, having dinner with Antonio Pierce, and I'm going to ask him for a job with the Raiders in some capacity to help diversify my portfolio / resume. This would be my 39th job if all goes well. And to be honest, I would not be surprised in any way if, Antonio Pierce 100% accepts Chad here. Again, like I said many times, Antonio Pierce, great head coach. Very excited to see him, as head coach for the Raiders. Because, again, like I said, at the end of the day, the only way the Raiders are going to get better is by having someone as a head coach who is mentally stable. John Gruden wasn't mentally stable. Great head coach, not mentally stable. Awful person. Then you had Josh McDaniels, who was also unstable and mentally unwell, an awful person. And now you finally have someone who actually has some logic and decency and can get the job done, and he can be very successful. So, this is going to be interesting. I'm fully expecting Antonio Pierce, especially because he just brought in Marvin Lewis as the assistant head coach, for him to say, absolutely yes, Chad. If anything, as a wide receiver coach or something like that, right? Assistant wide receiver coach, just to get, him in the building. It creates the fans get happier. Obviously, the players get happier. I mean, we heard Devontae Adams. The reason why he wants to stay with Las Vegas now is because of Antonio Pierce. He wanted to leave them under Josh McDaniels, but you get rid of Josh McDaniels, you get rid of the pretty much the sore here, the problem here, and now he wants to stay with the team. So it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up working out for the Raiders, just because Chad is a very interesting personality, I will say. Love Chad Johnson, but he's a very interesting personality. So I'll be interested to see what job or role they do go ahead and give him. But I'm fully expecting, 1000% expecting them to say yes and him to give him a job in some capacity. If not, as like a strict not head coach, but as strictly like a coaching spot. Maybe, if anything, maybe just someone to kind of like Pete Carroll did, like in the ambassador role. Ambassador? I think it's ambassador. Ambassador role. Someone like to kind of look over and give their thoughts and opinions. Someone kind of like that, right? I'm expecting at least some type of role where he can kind of give his thoughts, give his opinions, and be, contribute to the well-being of the team. So I would not be surprised in any way that he would get this job. Again, because this is why Chad posted on Twitter. Because once he posted this on Twitter, everyone talks about it. The rumors go out, all this publicity, and the Raiders, this is positive publicity for the Raiders. Just got Marvin Lewis. I'm sure Marvin Lewis is telling Antonio Pierce, hey man, we love Chad. Chad's great. There was a whole story between Chad Johnson and Marvin Lewis back when he was with the Bengals, and I think it was his first or second season. He was living at the Bengals facility because he didn't want to go out there and spend the money to pay rent somewhere when he's always at the facility anyway, working out and doing his job. So after, I think it was like the second or third year for him doing that, Mike Brown told Marvin Lewis, hey man, you gotta go talk to Chad and tell him he can't live at our facility. So he eventually had to do it, and as Chad said, he pretty much got evicted from Marvin Lewis. He had to get a place right down the road, which he literally got a place like, I think it was like 20 feet down the road. And he still pretty much lived there, but he also lived at his own apartment. So it's just hilarious because that's just the relationship with Chad and Marvin Lewis. It's like that father-son relationship in a way. So I can't wait to see how, the dynamic continues to operate if he does go ahead and join the Raiders organization. And again, like I said, I could not see why they wouldn't accept this in any way. Even as maybe a personnel role, right? Just a personnel role, not even a coaching role. With us, I understand why we didn't accept it in a way, but I wish we did. And I really think it would have been an awesome idea / concept for us to actually bring in Chad. But it would have also caused a lot of not controversy, but he has a very interesting character to him. He is not a guy who's very quiet. He is not a guy who's very just sits there and doesn't say anything. He's very vocal. He's very outlandish out there, and we love it. But, I don't know if Coach Taylor would want that on his coaching staff. I don't know. Again, like I said, it all comes down to, personal preferences. But with that being said, though, man, I'd love to see the Raiders get him because he deserves to be in some type of coaching role or even personnel role or advisor role. Thank you guys for watching, though. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.